Well, so what are we gonna do today, Cousin BW?
The same thing we do every day, Melvin. Try to take over the neighborhood.
Hey y'all, Bloodwing here. Back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And it's that time again. It's once again time for Heifer of the Week. I've been kind of lax the last couple of weeks with the holidays and some other things going on. But I'm going to try to get back on track tonight. So like I said, it's once again time for Heifer of the Week.
Well, who's gonna be this time, Cousin BW? Is it somebody new, or that you stumbled on, or is it somebody we all know, or somebody you've already done?
Well, Ben, it is somebody we know, but it's not someone that I've done a piece on up to this point. But it is someone that is a part of that circle jerk of Fisty Splinter's little bunch of comrades.
No, Cousin BW, surely you don't mean...
That's right. I'm afraid I do mean.
By what name are you known? There are some who call me... Tim?
Hello, I'm developing some traditions on my channel. One of them is a video on Christmas Day about being blocked by Dave Rubin. And apparently another one, because I did it last year, is my message to the next year. So this is my message to 2017. Now first, I've adjusted this a little bit. I've removed two groups that were in the previous message and added a couple of other ones. So I've removed MGTOWs from the group because last year I said, MGTOWs, stop being MGTOWs. It's stupid, it's a waste of time, it's a failed movement, it's just a woman-hating movement. You're a bunch of sad sack, misogynist assholes, and there's no real need to address MGTOWs anymore. I think they're irrelevant, so I took them off the list.
Somebody marked this down on the calendar, because I actually agree with him on something. MGTOWs are irrelevant, and they're not really worth addressing. I got a little bit interested in them there for a little while. I wanted to hear what a true one really said, but I've not been able to run across one. Only the crazies.
I also took off the list new atheists, because this time last year, regressive was all the rage. Sam Harris was on the ascendancy online with his influence, and everything was just regressive this, regressive that. Anything that you say positive about anything to do with Muslims, although they would say it's actually about Islam, it's not about the Muslims. Always using that shield.
Oh, just stop right there, because I really don't care. I don't care what goes on in the Atheist Plus community. Nick?
Is regressive, and everything you say is regressive, and you're regressive unless you think exactly the same way that we do. So there was a very monolithic mentality concerning religion that you have to think exactly the same as everybody else who considers themselves an atheist or non-believer. Otherwise you're an apologist, and you love them from gay people buildings, and you love all this terrible misogyny in Islam, regressive scum, and you've got some secret agenda. But over the course of this year, I think new atheists have been becoming increasingly irrelevant, so I've taken them off the list because I think unless they make a resurgence in 2017, they're not a group which is really of very much particular significance at the moment, so they're not really worth talking about right now. So MGTOWs and new atheists, I've taken you off. Hopefully my audio wasn't too loud. Might be a bit distorted at the start. Turn it down.
So my first message is to the men's rights movement. I made a message to them last year where I said make it about the issues, the things that are really important to you guys. And one thing has really stood out about men's rights activism or the men's rights movement, and it's a prominent group within them called Honey Badger Radio, which is Karen Stroganoy and Alison What's-His-Face, who were on some hangouts in 2016 that really pissed people off.
Funny, aren't you? But infantile joke aside, somebody really does need to mark this down on the calendar because, again, I agree with you. I thought Honey Badger Radio really jumped the shark with that episode. So, yeah, not much else I can say on that. Gosh, how am I supposed to make him Heifer of the Week if I keep agreeing with him? Maybe we'll find something here.
The issue should be male suicide is at absurd levels compared to female suicide, and they need to find a solution for that. there's probably some questions around custody battles and, assuming men are abusers and pedophiles and all that kind of shit. Prison culture. There's a big question around that. And the fact that men have to go into the military and die and fight in ridiculous wars. Those are some real things that affect men.
Dadgummit, Tim. If you don't quit saying stuff I agree with, how am I going to get you to win the Heifer of the Week? And let's skip ahead. Maybe we'll find something I can disagree with here.
The alt-right. The alt-right. Basically, Croughton T, a guy who's controversial for other reasons, like his comments about Muslims and Islam, that, I want to find out what he actually thinks about Muslims, because he hasn't really explained what some of the weird, offensive tweets he sent were about. He did have a good video, which was, it's just a meme, bro. It's just a meme. So when they have constant memes, the alt-right, about the Jews and Hitler and Holocaust and all of these expressions, making caricatures of Jewish people, that's their way of spreading anti-Semitism and spreading racism, and then be able to say it's just a meme, so don't worry about it.
Well, I'm just not getting much anywhere, because again, I have to kind of agree with him. The alt-right is terrible, at least the racist end of it. But where I can disagree a little bit, you can't really define what is alt-right. There's a lot of different groups that have claimed the label, such as Milo Yiannopoulos. But there are a lot of, neo-Nazis that have claimed that title. So I can agree that, yes, there's some really bad elements that need to be called out, that I can't really get on board calling them all that. But, whatever. Hey, maybe we're making progress. I partially disagreed. Let's skip ahead and see what else we can find. Wow, he's going to call out his own group? Maybe I'll find something here. This will be interesting, but if he's going to call out feminists, how am I going to disagree with that? Let's see what he's got to say.
Feminists. Everyone's always going to hate feminists. Anita Sarkeesian is always going to be the queen of feminism. So just look to what she's saying. Anything bad that ever happens in society is always going to be because of feminists. Everything that, some crazy loony person on the left says is always going to be feminism. So that's always going to be blamed for everything. As to feminists themselves, just keep fighting what you believe in. It's pretty much the same message I had last year. Do what you think is right. People are always going to straw man you, and they're always going to say you're responsible for every other feminist. It's never going to change. It's just the way it is. So feminism is to blame for everything, and just keep doing you.
Now we're getting to the Tim we all know and love. I knew he couldn't be honest and call out his own group. Hey, everybody blames us. We're everybody's scapegoat. Just keep doing what you're going to do, because they're going to pick on you anyway. Yeah, that's what I expected out of you, Tim, and you didn't disappoint. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe it's not everybody's picking on you, but everybody sees through your BS? So if you all just keep doing like you're doing, it is gonna keep happening. You're right about that much. Well, let's see where he goes from here. Yeah, here we go. I'm absolutely certain we're going to be able to find something here, people, to show you why I believe that Tim is our Heifer of the Week this week. Let's take a listen.
Anti-feminists and anti-SJWs. Now, fuck, you guys are annoying. You're fucking annoying. You're really, really goddamn annoying, because you're so pedantic.
Well, Tim, it might surprise you to know that we find you and your bunch really, really annoying. And we're the ones that's pedantic? And what's wrong with being concerned about the details? Because that's what the word means. You do know that, right? So there's something wrong with being concerned about the details? Or are you saying we're overly fussy? Why? Because we want to point out your little lies that you like to slide by when you show your stats and stuff? You're the ones that's always shouting for citations. You're the ones that's always shouting for statistics. And we're the fussy ones? Look, I'm never going to be apologizing for wanting the straight truth. Every bit of it. And if there's even the slightest lie or the slightest error, I'm going to be right there to point it out. And I hope people do the same thing for me. Go on, you were saying?
Everything is about nitpicking everything as much as you possibly can and constantly changing the subject, changing the argument, moving the goalposts. I've seen the lengths to which anti-feminists and anti-SJWs will go this year and 2016 to push their agenda, and it seems like the sky's the limit.
First of all, Tim, citation needed. What goalposts were moved? You're just making a general statement there. And by the way, we're the ones that moved the goalposts. Who is it that keeps changing the rape statistic? You know, one day it's 3, one day it's 5, tomorrow it'll be 1. You know, and that's just one example.
No amount of straw manning is enough. No amount of just making shit up. No amount of changing the subject. No amount of, what about this feminist over here? What about this person over here? What about what this person said? What about that person said? And
says one of the men that just loves to pick on Bering. It's not about the argument. It's let's destroy Bering.
Instead of talking about the actual fucking subject, I've just come to the conclusion that, yeah, you guys want to destroy feminism, and the most important thing to you is making that happen. So it's like, how can we have a rational conversation? How can we have a dialogue when it's just like you're trying to find ways of destroying me? And
again, Tim, what about Bering? Destroying you? You guys have made it your business to destroy Bering. And you've attacked Sargon, and tried to get Thunderfoot in the past, and different ones. It sounds like you're talking about yourself, guy. I mean, seriously, you want to have a dialogue? I've seen your tweets, and I've seen your videos. This is the same guy that whined and cried because his private conversation was give up that might give some information on who doxed Bering. This is the same guy that just pitched a gleeful little fit over Bering losing his channel. You don't want a dialogue. Admit it. You don't want a dialogue. You just want to destroy certain people. And once you get off Bering, you'll turn on somebody else. Maybe me, maybe someone else. I don't know and don't care. But this is your tactic, not ours. We don't want to destroy anybody. Heck, if we destroyed you, we wouldn't have anybody to make content off of. And that just doesn't make sense, does it?
that's really frustrating. So I'd say in 2017, even though, I mean, you guys have labeled yourself a specific thing, anti-this, so you're always going to be anti-me if I'm any of those things.
No, actually, Tim, it was your side that labeled us that. It's just that some people took it and ran with it and owned it. Now, I personally don't identify as an anti-feminist or an anti-SJW. I only use those terms because it's easy and helps people to know what I'm about. Personally, I rather think that I'm anti-stupid. No matter where I find stupid, that's what I'm against. So yeah, if you're stupid, Tim, I am against you.
Try to have an open dialogue where we actually focus on what the arguments are. You don't have to constantly make up what other people are saying and then fight against that.
I know I keep bringing up that great fuzzy Australian bear a lot, but changing the subject and avoid, you mean like you all did in that famous live stream about rape that you done with Bering and Kevin Logan and your little buddy Michael? That sort of thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Just listen to what they're saying. I've had a few conversations with some anti-feminists in 2016 where I was surprised because I was like, wow, they're really listening to what I'm actually saying. They're actually listening to my argument. This is great. And then we had a good dialogue and it was good. But so many other times, you can't stay focused on the actual topic. You have to go off into like, what about what Kevin Logan did 2 years ago or some shit? It's like, I guess that was bad. I don't know the details about it, but what's it got to fucking do with the current subject?
You know, I really don't know where that specific example would come from, Tim, unless you were having a conversation about how Kevin Logan was involved in doxing Armored Skeptic. And if you were talking about doxing, which would be pretty safe bet since it's been a big topic on everybody's mind recently with what happened to Bering, especially with you, then it would have everything to do with it. But, since it's just a random instance you've thrown out there, nobody can judge on it. So it depends on what you are actually talking about, on whether it was pertinent or not.
So stop just trying to find ways of destroying feminism. Try to actually have a dialogue. Maybe you'll destroy feminism better if you beat them in a fair and open way in which you actually listen to the real arguments being made. But until then, I have a lot of doubts that I'm going to have any productive conversations with anti-feminists and anti-SJWs until they lose their mentality that I am the enemy under all circumstances when I'm just trying to have a fucking conversation with you, you goddamn cunt. Moron. Oh, I'm not supposed to say cunt so much, but you know what I mean.
You're not the enemy, but you couldn't even get through this without an insult. I knew the real Tim would show up sooner or later. The reasonable Tim just couldn't last the entire video, and you just didn't disappoint, did you, Tim? Well, now you see why I say he's the heifer of the week this week. The rest of it was about skeptics, which I don't care. I'm not a part of the skeptic community. I don't claim to be. And he's particularly focused on Armored Skeptic, who I've got my own issues with at the moment, but that's neither here nor there. It's enough of the video to give you the idea. Yeah, I agreed with some of what he said, and that's the way Tim works. He comes across as being agreeable, as being reasonable. And then he slides in the old nasty Tim before it's all said and done. So, yep, there you have it. Tim is our heifer of the week. Well, thanks for playing, Tim. We truly appreciate it. There'll be consolation prizes for you at the door. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. But as always, get out of my yard.
You hit me up, it's late at night, this is the same old story. Your friends should take your phone away. I always give in when you tell me lies to reassure me. I always make the same mistakes. Ooh, you give me a little taste, love me and then you take it from me. Oh, I hate that I love it cause you're driving me crazy. First you say you love me, then you say you don't. I wake up in the morning and I'm all alone. Tell me that you're with it, then you say you won't. Can you make your mind? Oh please, I'm losing my patience. You know I'm losing my patience, yeah. I'm in your room, it's just us two. I feel you getting closer. You rest your head upon my chest, yeah. Deep down I know that this should be the last time I come over.